the Rangers Journal Night.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rangers Journal podcast. My name's Scotty and I'm delighted to be joined by LeConte tonight, who's going to help me speak over the link about Davide Ancelotti, who could be looking for his first managerial job. But first, LeConte, how are you doing?
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm doing well. What about you?
Not bad at all. So,
Yeah.
let's get right into it. In terms of Davide Ancelotti,
Yes.
what's your opinion on the link to Rangers?
Okay, so there are a few things to consider about Davide Ancelotti. First of all, let's give a little bit of backstory. When he was doing his coaching training with UEFA, he was the top-rated guy. I don't know if somebody was able to beat his exam tests as of yet. So there was a lot of promise when it came to him, his understanding of football, especially during his period before he became his father's assistant, which in a sense might have held him back.
Yeah.
In terms of how does he fit Rangers, it's hard to tell because he doesn't really have like managerial experience. Best he's been, it's an assistant, but that's an assistant to a team that has won the Champions League twice. So that definitely has put him in a good position to handle the pressure that comes with a fan base that has demands and a fan base that wants to be successful. So that, I think that from a mental perspective, especially given his father's achievements, Davide will come well prepared on a mental state of things. As for the tactical nuances of things, it changes a little bit. Depends where you want us to begin with that. But yeah, we can start from there.
In terms of we'll go with tactics then. Tell me a wee bit about his influence within the backroom staff at Real Madrid.
Okay, so as we know, Carlo Ancelotti is his father is a very manager-oriented coach. He wants to give players freedom. This will play part later when we talk about his tactical side of things. But for time being, in terms of like man management, if he's half as good as his father, then it should be completely fine. And one of the most noticeable things is that Davide shares a great relationship with a lot of Madrid players. He's often on the sidelines talking to them, giving them instructions. It's mostly him who does that job, while Ancelotti, his father, I want to say, not Ancelotti in this case, his father is more like upstanding, just giving instructions live while he interacts with the team on the back. There's a lot of faith shown by his father in him. That's a positive thing. Most certainly, we have had a few cases where Madrid players have definitely shown appreciation to him. So that's another positive thing. So yeah, I think that in terms of man management, he's pretty skilled. He's also way more animated than his father, which I think that for a furious fan base like Rangers, they would love something like that because he's more animated, he's more emotional, he doesn't just stand there and blink. He's more like an emotional type of guy. Of course, age plays a part, but he's more animated. Maybe that's a good thing for a team like Rangers because they'll want somebody there on the touchline that's going to move a bit more, that's going to shout at the players a bit more. He will definitely come and convey respect because of whose son he is to begin with. And I think that he has a pretty good knowledge in football to be able to get the locker room together. So he shouldn't really have a lot of problems there.
Would you say his role within the backroom staff at Real Madrid is to motivate the players, or is it more? Does he have a more tactical role? Does he have a more special role?
He has more tactical role. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the style of play, in terms of the tactics, it's quite hard to make an assumption based off
It's
of
very hard. Yes.
his dad's work. Obviously, his dad's done a great job everywhere he's went. He's well thought of and well respected around world football.
Yes.
Won trophies, playing a different style of play at Real Madrid, I would say, compared to what they're used to. Do you think that that's something that David Ancelotti would take with him in terms of, do you think he would copy his father's style of play, or do you think he would be very much his own man?
I think he is very much his own mind, even from his thesis for the UEFA coaching badge. You can tell that he's way more progressive than his father. That can be a good or bad thing, depends how he executes it. But I don't think that he sees football the same way as his father does, especially in terms of giving freedom to the players and such. I think that Davide is more of like more rigid, which can work well with a team that obviously doesn't have the player quality of a team like Real Madrid. I think that Davide would come in and do a good job on that sense. He's pretty good, very sound. He sounds tactically. One of the major things to think about, though, one of the tactical flaws, we know that he's the set piece coach at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are really bad at set pieces. So you would hope that that is not really going to translate into Rangers if he's to take that job.
You think with the physicality of the Scottish game, it's very physical in terms of the style of the league. Um, that's something that would raise a bit of a flag within a Rangers support, I've got to say, if it was to come, if it was to get appointed. What kind of backroom team do you think he would assemble? Would he come in with his own, or would he work with some club coaches?
That's hard to tell because now his father is Brazil's national
Yeah,
team manager. I don't know how many of those guys he'll get. So it's all gonna depend. Probably there are a few people that he went to do the badges with that he would love to work with.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure about the staff. Probably there's a dividance. He will take some of the guys that he worked closer with, and his father Carlo will take the others. That's a possibility. Or he might just reassemble it and go through. He's a very detailed guy. I'll tell you that much, at least from every time I've heard him speak. Davide is very much a detailed type of coach. He wants the details to be in place as opposed to his father.
Right.
So yeah, there is vast difference between how Davide approaches football and sees it compared to his father. So
How
yeah,
do, how does he come across in press interviews and stuff like that?
he hasn't done many,
Right.
to be
Okay.
honest. He hasn't done many. He has a few out there. He seems sound manager. He seems again to create a good bond. I think that he's quite confident as a person. He's not somebody to just break down. So yeah, I think that on the general scheme of things, he would come up pretty well on this.
How much influence do you think that David Ancelotti has had on Real Madrid while he's been there?
Mm, Not sure because that's a tough question. Even though he's the main assistant, it's a tough question at Madrid with the assistants because we don't really know the power dynamics. Usually, they're never shared. So I would assume that he was in charge of looking at the films, then relaying that information to his father for them to come up with something. I would assume that that was his main role. As I said, we know that he was a set pieces coach, which he should not have been. That's not his thing. So he'll definitely need to get somebody to do that job for him, which is very normal within the main
Yeah.
coaches. So that doesn't raise any point of concern. But for the most part, I think that he's well diverse. He's well spoken. I think that he would do well on for the most part, considering just how long he's been even in Madrid to begin with and has gathered that culture and working under the pressure.
He's got. Has there been any particular highlights of him, or of anything you know that he's done in his time at Madrid? Like any changes he's made in game? like having an influence over his father. I'm only asking this because I seen a clip on Twitter last night, and it was about Hosselu coming off the bench, and it was Davide
Yeah.
Ancelotti that kind of influenced that change. I think it was a Champions League game, and Hosselu comes on and
Yes.
scores. Has there been many sightings of things like that happening?
A lot of that, yes.
Oh, right.
As I told you, he's more in charge with the guys on the bench. So with the subs, he talks to them, warms them, tells them what to do, shows them the tactical papers. So he's definitely has a bigger role than his father when it comes to that. But it's his father who calls the shots basically on how he sees the team progressing, which we can't really put it on Davide there, especially with his season failures. It's hard to put him there. He should be available now, and I think that he's worth a shot. I don't really know the full short list, but given his thesis, given everything that he's done, I think that he would be a pretty good fit. Yes.
Do you think there's a chance he could join his father in Brazil?
I think that it might be time for him to actually go on his own.
Go on
I
his own.
think it's time. Yeah, because he's a very young guy, but it's been a while since he's achieved his UEFA badges. It's been a while since he's been his father's assistant. I think he's learned more than enough. So maybe now it's time for him to take a route of his own. So yeah, I don't think he joins his father on this
It
next
was
venture.
It was Di Marzio in Italy that reported via Sky last night that he was on the shortlist for the Rangers. Rangers are a team that's interested with two teams and two clubs in Spain. Now, do you think that he would rather stay in Spain, or do you think that coming to the British game, being in a smaller league where he's got a chance of winning it and being successful, do you think that would appeal to him?
I think so. I don't think that he would want to be uh, put immediately in like a top league, like La Liga, for example, or Premier League
Yeah,
from the get go. So Rangers would be like a good start for him to see where he is as a coach to begin with, because
yeah,
he has a lot of testing to do. But he's more of a risk for Rangers than Rangers are for him as things currently stand.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah.
What would you say is his biggest strength as a coach?
His ability to communicate with the players.
Okay, okay. What about weaknesses? Have you maybe just set pieces? Would you say?
Set pieces, yes, he's bad at them. Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But that's not, again, I'll just say this again. It shouldn't be up to him to do it. It's just Ancelotti's Carlos. I mean, structure of coaching was a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
So not really his fault. Like he's not playing to his strengths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a learning curve makes him a better manager longer term, knows what he looks for, knows what he has to do and what he shouldn't do. So that's not really a bad thing necessarily, but he's been the set pieces coach ever since Ancelotti came back to Madrid, and just Madrid are just historically bad with Carlo there, so that's on Davide.
Yeah. 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 Do you think that coming to a different country, coming to Scotland, playing in the old firm derby's very, it's a cauldron. We call it the
Yeah,
goldfish bowl over here because there's two fishes and there's not really many other fishes
yeah,
in the tank, so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
Um, do you? I think he can speak five languages as well. Do you think he would be able to adapt to the league and put a winning playing style on?
I mean, considering how much he's had to travel with
Yeah,
his father, right, through living, like he's lived in Spain, Italy, Germany, England.
hmm,
I don't think that he should have a problem at this point. I don't think he has like attachment issues because of how his life has been. So he should be pretty you should be able to settle well without a problem, even in Scotland. As I said, I think that it fits where he needs to start. Actually, getting Rangers historically is giving him a head start.
Yeah.
But yeah, it mostly comes down to how they are perceiving his situation in general and what the interview process of Rangers is going to be with him.
It would be interesting. See, in terms of the size of the challenge at Rangers, though, do you think he would be able to? He would know what it takes to win in Scotland, because it's very every team's out to beat you. It's the same in Madrid, I would imagine, in La Liga.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? It's kind of the same in Madrid, just at no disrespect, but at
Oh
lower
yeah,
scale in terms of quality, of
yeah.
course. Like big thing, don't get me wrong. I'm not being disrespectful there,
No,
but
no.
winning the Champions League and winning the Scottish League are, like two different things. So, but he's won the Champions League twice as an assistant. He's had to feel that twice. As I said, he's shown a lot of emotions, but he's also been like pretty good at defeats, which speaks well of his character for me. You haven't seen him like throw tantrums, or you haven't seen him like do some things that are out of the character. For the most
Yeah,
part, he still managed to keep himself calm, composed. That's a big thing. I mean, that's something that he probably inherited from his father or learned it along the way. But yeah, like he ticks a lot of the boxes of being somebody that can work under the pressure when fans are expecting him to deliver,
right, okay.
at least on a mental standpoint. From a tactical one, hard to speak.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because
Yeah,
we need somebody that's got a winning philosophy in Scotland, and it's hard to say when we don't even know what his philosophy would be, if that makes any sense. Whether it would be playing the ball in
you
the
don't
net,
know.
being counter attacking like his dad's teams are, or whether it press high, is really difficult to say.
Yeah, is he going to stay? Is he going to try to build out of the back? Is he going to try to stay in like lower mid block? But it also depends on the squad, right? Like a lot of managers adapt to the players, especially the Ancelottis. They try to adapt to the players at hand. You're never gonna get the same thing. I would imagine he's the same as his father. So depending on the player profiles is probably what he's gonna try and do.
Yeah, it's an interesting link. It's definitely one we weren't expecting in Scotland last night. It's an interesting one, but it's quite intriguing at the same time. But have you got anything you want to add, LeConte? But otherwise, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and nice to meet everybody. I guess. Thank you for this opportunity. It was
Do
a
you want to
pleasure.
tell people where they can find you on Twitter?
I mean, yeah, if they want, it's at Loconte. They'll probably be able to find me there. So yeah,
Right,
that's
no
it.
worries. Cool.
Really,
Thank
I'm
you for
yours.
coming on.
Thank you for having me over. It
Cool.
was a pleasure again.
Right, cheers, mate.
Have a good
Yeah.
day. Cheers.